Hello and welcome to episode 18 of this Inspired by 2020 Visionary Leadership Chat Series. I'm really delighted to introduce a real inspirer in Professor Rao. Professor Rao, how are you?
Thank you very much, Simon, and thank you for inviting me on your show.
You're welcome. And I'm really honored. You're the father of soft leadership, the founder of M.S Rao Leadership Consultants. You have a vision to build 1 million students as global leaders by 2030, which is amazing. You're an international leadership guru. You've written 48 books, which is just amazing. You're a C-suite advisor. You're a keynote speaker. You're number 8 thought leader globally in Thinkers 360. And you're also one of the fastest upcoming leadership gurus for globalgurus.org. So it's a real privilege for me as an aspiring leader to be talking to you. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining me.
It's a great pleasure to be in your show.
It's a pleasure for me too. So maybe for the next 5 minutes, can you just talk a little bit about you and your life and how you came to do what you're doing today?
I was born in a poor family. Unfortunately, I was born in a very toxic family and a toxic environment. And right from my childhood, I wanted to study. I wanted to read. But my family conditions didn't allow me to study, to pursue education.
Yeah.
Before completion of my graduation, I joined Indian Air Force. Because I love my country and I have passion for uniform, and
Yes.
I joined Indian Air Force. So that was the turning point in my life. So after I joined Indian Air Force, I started developing positive attitude, and I started reading good books. And Indian Air Force, that taught me how to become a good leader.
Yeah.
So I reinvented myself, and I started still working in the Indian Air Force, and also I started reading books, and also I started acquiring qualifications.
Yes.
So in the Indian Air Force, I acquired a diploma in mechanical engineering, that is aeronautical mechanical engineering.
Yeah.
Then I acquired my graduation, that is BSc. Then I acquired my masters in arts, MBA.
Yes.
Then I acquired PG DCLR, that is labor laws.
Yes.
Then I have done my PG DBM, that is postgraduate diploma in business management.
Yes.
Then I acquired MBA, Master of Business Administration. So later on, I joined business for some time, which didn't work out because
Yeah.
some of my relatives, they ditched me. So they betrayed me. So I had to leave that business, and thanks to God that I entered into teaching field.
Okay.
So I joined for my PhD in 2007,
Okay.
and 4 years I did my research in soft skills, and I ended my PhD in soft skills in the year 2011. So I started sharing my knowledge with the students, and I discovered my passion for teaching.
Yeah.
I discovered my passion for writing. So 2010, I became an author, and I started writing books.
Yes.
So far I have written 60 books, but I have published only 48 books.
Okay.
So still there are 12 books which are yet to be published.
Wow.
So after I joined into the teaching field, uh, I earned my PhD in soft skills, and after soft skills, then leadership is very close to my heart,
Yes.
and I blended soft skills and leadership, and coined soft leadership. So I have written a couple of books on soft leadership, and some of the eminent thinkers like Marshall Goldsmith, Dave Aldrich, Jim Coaches, many great thinkers, they started helping me.
Yes.
So Dave Aldrich, the father of modern HR, has written a foreword for one of my books on soft leadership.
Okay.
So that's how I started my journey without anybody's support. Although I'm a dyslexic, I'm a below average student, I'm not intelligent, but
Yeah.
I'm very highly imaginative, and I'm highly creative person.
Yes.
I may be a below average candidate academically, but my imagination is so big. So I started writing books,
Wow.
and I have written so many books, and some of the books are doing really good. And whenever I find time, I keep writing articles and share my knowledge free with the world.
Yes.
I'm unemployed for the last 5 years without any income, but still I'm passionate about sharing my knowledge free with the world. So I keep posting some articles on blog regularly and share
Yes.
with the world.
Yes.
And I also write books. And also, if I get any opportunities to keynote conferences, I conduct training programs.
Yes.
That's how I do it. Then I started my Vision 2030 1 million global leaders.
So I was going to ask you about that. So before we come on to that, so what you've just described, Professor Rao, is a very similar journey to me. So I came from a working class family, and there were issues in my family, and I coped with that by I threw myself into education. So I was the first person in my family to go to university. So very similar. So for me, education and learning, I've had this lust to learn, and I read and I read, and now I write. The last 4 years, I've written 3 books, and there's two more coming. So it sounds to me that we have a similar thing going through us, and I think that is resilience and motivation. There's a drive within you. There's a strong drive to keep moving on and improving. Would you agree with that? There's a deep drive in you.
Yes, I have a deep drive. I'm passionate about learning.
Yes.
So although I was born in a poor family and in a toxic environment and toxic family, and after I joined Air Force, I didn't give up my education. I was not even a graduate. Then I acquired 6 qualifications after I joined Indian Air Force. And Indian Air Force, the life was very difficult because morning to night, physical exercises, so many things we had to do in military. So after doing everything, I used to sacrifice my leisure time for my education. Whatever the amount I was getting, little salary I was getting, that a part of that salary I was sending to my home, to my parents, and a part of salary I was using for my education. So like that, I learned. I didn't have any godfather. And there was nobody to encourage. So I started learning by myself, by going to libraries and learning books. Due to the technology, so now Google and all those things have come. The information has been thrown open. So I started reading online, and I started converting information into knowledge.
That's right. That's right. So it sounds very similar. And then you mentioned the vision for leadership in 2030. Explain that to the viewers. What's that all about, and why are you doing it? Why are you doing it?
The fact is that globally there is a leadership gap. That means the baby boomers are retiring. The young people, especially millennials or Generation Y, we call them with the different names across the world. We call them as millennials and we call them as Generation Y. They are not adequately equipped with leadership skills and abilities. So I belong to Generation X. Generation X is the bridge between baby boomers and millennials. So I thought it was an opportunity for me to bridge the gap between baby boomers and millennials, because baby boomers are retiring and there is a leadership gap across the world. The millennials are not adequately equipped with leadership skills and abilities. So I created a vision 2030, and I worked in a couple of educational institutions. And I started teaching students. The students, they belong to somewhere between 18 to 21 years of age. So that the age, they can be molded easily. Like, I joined Indian Air Force when I was in 18 or 19 years old. So I was molded by Indian Air Force, and I joined as a boy, and I came out as a man. So I thought the students can be molded very easily. So I created a vision. By 2030, I should build 1 million students as global leaders. That was the vision I created. It's a non-profit event. And whenever colleges and educational institutions invite me to share my knowledge, I go and share my knowledge freely in the educational institutions.
Right.
And I found it training 1 million students may not be possible because already I am 56. So
Yes.
what I started doing, I started sharing my knowledge through my blogs and posting them on LinkedIn and other social media network like
Yes.
Facebook. I started writing about leadership,
Yeah.
personality development. So all those things I started creating. Even
Wow.
I authored a book on Vision 2030, 1 billion global leaders.
Yes.
And I have dedicated this book to former President of India, APJ Abdul Kalam.
Yes.
And Dr. Kiran Bedi has written a foreword
Okay.
for this book. And also, whatever the thoughts come to me, I have the habit of writing. So I convert them into an article, and articles I will compile and make them into a book.
Yes.
That's what I do it. Okay.
Yes.
That's what I have been doing it. So I started doing it, and now the journey is going on. And
Yes.
this Vision 2030 has won international award from Leadership Excellence.
Wow.
Where Bill Clinton came and keynoted the
Wow.
award function, but I couldn't go because I
Yeah.
was busy with other commitments.
Yes.
So it's doing good, and it has got several awards in India.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'll be able to build 1 million students, if not physically, at least by sharing my knowledge
Yes.
freely with the students across the world.
And that's sorry, I was going to say that's amazing, because we were speaking beforehand about, when you give to the universe gives back. And
sure.
And that's what you're doing. You're giving to the universe big time.
Yeah.
I mean, you're giving a lot of your time, and you're creating a lot of new stuff, and you're sharing it. And I mean, you do so many things. You write articles, you write books, you're doing the leadership, the vision for leadership thing. What is your main focus today? What are you mainly dealing with today? What are you mainly working on today?
So I'm mainly working on sharing free knowledge with the world. This is my core area.
Yes.
Because I am passionate about sharing my knowledge freely with the world.
Yes.
I still belong to a lower middle class family, and I don't have financial resources. I still live in a rented flat.
Yes.
Sleep on the floor without any regular income. But still, I'm passionate about sharing my knowledge freely with the world.
Yes.
Okay, because I get some satisfaction. As you said, when you give it to universe will give it back.
Yes.
And I can't give money, but what I am giving, my time. The biggest gift you can give it to anybody is time.
Yes.
Not money.
Exactly.
So I believe in that. I am giving my time because my time is limited. I don't know how many years I will live. But as long as I live, I want to utilize my time to shape students as global leaders and to share my knowledge freely with the world. That's what I am doing. And to sustain myself, to run, to move my family, if I get any opportunities to provide training programs, I go and provide, and I get money.
Yes.
That's second.
Yes.
And apart from that, if any educational institution invites me to provide free training, I go and provide free training.
Yes.
Through Vision 2030. So I'm just a follower of Peter Drucker.
Yes.
The father of modern management. He is my inspiration in management.
Yes.
So what he was doing, he started doing many things. He was charging money for some aspects to run his family, but he also focused on non-profits.
Yes.
Adding value to the societies, because we have to add value to the society. So that is free. That means he was involved in non-profits. He was also involved in some activities where he was generating income to manage his family.
Yes.
So that's what I am doing. But he was highly successful, and I still have a long way to go. That's the thing.
No, that's great. And again, I'm similar because I work for, I do programs for business schools. I have training programs in business schools. I work with corporates. I do work with government training. I do training around negotiation and deal making and leadership and mindful, resilient leadership. And I love creating, but I also do things for free as well. I mean, I give my time to charity cause, to not-for-profits, and I've worked for the Junior Chamber here in Ireland. I'd lecture. So for me, and some people say to me, "Why do you do this for free, Simon?" And my answer is, well, I get money in from other places. It pays the bills.
Yes.
And I love sharing my knowledge. So we're I think we were related in a previous life.
Yeah.
I think we were related.
The universe is so great. That's why you have come close.
Yes.
Because you are also doing
The same.
non-profits.
Exactly.
But I think you are doing more of non-profits, okay, and
Yes.
less of profits, because those profits are required to manage our families and bills, whatever you call in your language.
Yeah.
So in my case, I have financial constraints, no enough opportunities to run money, but still I am somehow managing.
Yes.
And still I am focusing on non-profits, having drawn inspiration from Peter Drucker.
Yes.
As I told you, Peter Drucker is my inspiration in management.
Yes.
Even I have dedicated a book to Peter Drucker.
Wow.
The title of the book is Soft Leadership, A New Direction to Leadership.
Wow.
So the specialty with that book is that Philip Kotler, the father of modern marketing, has written a foreword for that book.
Wow.
The title of the book is Soft Leadership, A New Direction to Leadership.
Okay.
Philip Kotler has written a foreword, and I have dedicated this book to Peter Drucker.
Wow.
The father of modern marketing has written a foreword, and I have dedicated to father of modern management. That is Peter Drucker. It's amazing. A great coincidence.
It is a great coincidence. And so you've written, you say you've written 60 books, which is just, I mean, the amount of time and the thought, you must be very, you must have a very good routine. You must be very disciplined to be thinking and creating. Would you agree with that? You must be constantly thinking and creating.
Yes, I do that. Morning 4 o'clock, I get up every day.
Wow.
And I sleep night 10 o'clock. This is my routine.
Okay.
Monday to Sunday. All 7 days I keep doing.
Yes.
There is no rest for me. So maybe I will take rest only at my graveyard. Sometimes I think like that. So morning 4 o'clock I get up, and I thank God for gifting me one more day to add value to the society.
Yes.
And I keep writing in the morning.
Wow.
And I throughout the day, then again I go to gym, do workout for 1 hour, then come back.
Yes.
Then again take a nap. Then again in the evening I will be doing either any interviews or writing books or sharing knowledge. Wow. So likewise, I'm doing it. So I have been doing it for the last 10 years, the same routine.
Every day, the same routine.
Same routine, no changes, no changes.
That's discipline. And so you've written 60 books and 48 are published. Maybe just tell the audience what are the sort of the topics, the subjects you write about. You've mentioned the soft leadership, but what other aspects of business or leadership have you written about in the past? And what are the new things you want to write about? What are the new things as well?
Yeah, thank you for asking a wonderful question. And when I was in educational institutions, I was writing books on soft skills. Yes. Because I acquired my PhD in soft skills, and the soft skills are required for not only students, for everyone. So I wrote a couple of books on soft skills and personality development books, and to groom students as leaders. So I have written a couple of books on leadership.
Yeah.
Then I started providing leadership development training programs. I started teaching for executive MBA. Executive MBA means those who are working executives were the audiences. So they started complaining that the present leadership styles don't work, so we need something different.
Yeah.
A few years back, they said. Then I coined soft leadership, and I focused a couple of books on soft leadership. Then again, I started writing on executive education. Then I wrote a book titled 21 Success Sutras for CEOs. That's a
Okay.
good book. And then I wrote about gender, because
Okay.
I have signed up for a hashtag he for she, and I advocate gender equality globally.
Yes.
Then I wrote a book on gender,
Okay.
strategies to build women leaders as CEOs globally. And
Wow.
for that book, I have dedicated that book to Rosa Parks,
Okay.
Maya Angelou, then again Oprah Winfrey. So I have dedicated to three women leaders that book. And the greatness with that book is that our the present Vice President of India, Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, has written a foreword for that.
Wow.
Oh. So all great people have written for my book. Great people have written forewords for my books.
Yes.
And one more book, See the Light in You, I have written, that is on mindfulness.
Okay.
So I started reinventing myself and started writing books on spiritualism.
Okay.
And His Holiness Dalai Lama, the Noble Laureate, has written a foreword for that book.
Wow.
The title of that book is "See the Light in You," because
See the
people are
light
having
in
a
you.
lot of people have also a lot of depression, anxiety,
Yes.
loneliness. It has become a big challenge globally.
Yes.
So I thought, let me throw the light on the people, let people see the light. So that's the title I have given. And fortunately, Dalai Lama has written a foreword,
Wow.
and the book is doing well. So
Yeah.
my areas of specialization is not confined to one area. I started
Yes.
reinventing myself: students, leadership, executive education, mindfulness, gender.
Yes.
Then I also wrote about negotiation skills, because I have published 48 books. Sometimes I can't remember what I have written. 48 books I don't remember. Then when I came across your book, Deal Making, so I
Yes.
thought I also wrote a book on soft leadership, connecting with the negotiation skills, and
Yes.
to resolve the conflicts in the world.
Yes.
And for that also a great person has written a foreword. So that book also received a good number of reviews on Amazon.
Yes.
So like that, I started reinventing myself. So my areas of specialization are in diversified, like learning, training, soft skills,
Yes.
soft leadership, executive education, negotiation,
Yes.
conflicts, peace. Now I am into mindfulness.
Yes.
So in future, hopefully I'll be able to write my biography. I want to write autobiography about my
Yes.
life, how much pains I have taken, how much sufferings, struggles I have undergone
Yes.
to come up to this level. I couldn't get any support. I have
Yes.
so many challenges, financial challenges. Even today, I have been betrayed by my own relatives,
Yes.
and born in a toxic family. So
Yes.
people think, by looking at my LinkedIn profile, he's a big man, great man, traveling in flight across the world. That's not correct. I still belong to a lower middle class family. This is the
Yes.
reality.
Yes.
But I'm passionate about sharing my knowledge with the world.
And that's amazing you should say that, because I've written a book on law. I've written 2 books on deal making. I'm now writing a book called The Growth Journey, about how people can most of humankind looks to grow outside, right? So we're thinking about money and possessions, but outside growth is finite, whereas if we start growing inside, it's infinite. So I'm writing
Infinite.
about that. So
Oh,
it
yeah.
sounds like we're doing similar things. And the other interesting thing is that the reason I started this podcast series called the Inspired by Podcast was that I see lots of great thought leaders like Marshall Goldsmith and John Mattone, and they're great people. But also there's lots of poor people in the world who don't have the money, or they don't have the mind to connect with those great thinkers. So
Yes.
my goal is to connect working class disenfranchised people with great thinkers. And it sounds like you're very similar. Would you say you're very
Yeah.
similar? You want to connect
Yeah.
everybody,
Correct. You are bridging. You are
bridging the gap.
bridging the gap between those people and these people.
Yes.
And I personally appreciate your kind heart. You are too kind. Because nowadays, most of the people, they are takers,
I know.
not givers.
I know
You are a
that.
giver.
No, and you are too.
Yeah, thank
And
you,
it's
thank you.
important, you know.
Yeah, it's required. And uh, most of the people, they are takers. They always think, what is in it for me?
I know.
But you and I don't. You and I don't belong to that group.
No,
We are givers, and gratefully, there is no competition in this. There is less competition in givers.
absolutely.
I hope you got my point, I think.
I
Because there
did.
is no competition. That means there are very few people in this
I agree.
who are giving.
I agree. I agree. But for us, that inner growth is it. The inner growth is more powerful than outer growth. Inner growth is so
Yes.
powerful. Um,
Yeah.
and so I agree. Maybe just in the last 5 minutes or so, you know, this whole right now in the world with coronavirus and, you know, in America, you see race riots and there's a lot of anger and anxiety and worry and depression in the world. But also, and the news talks about the negative things, but also the human spirit always moves forward. It always continues. And love is always more powerful than hatred. It's always more powerful, always, right?
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
if, you know, what do you think will happen coming up? Are you an optimist about this current crisis? Do you think that it will accelerate technology? Do you think it will make a lot more people reflect inwards? Are you an optimist or are you worried about what's happening?
I'm never worried. I'm an optimist. First
Me too.
point.
Me too.
Okay. Why? Because when a crisis of this thing comes, it will go for better.
Yeah.
Because people start reflecting.
Yeah.
And you say the media always highlights negative things.
Always.
Why? Because there's a competition among the media. So
Yes.
somehow they want to cook up some stories and write something and spread it.
Yeah.
And they are using social media. But even then, there are wise people always, intellectuals. They know what is right and what is wrong.
Yeah.
So this, as long as these wise people and intellectuals are there, negativity can't spread.
Yeah.
I strongly believe in that. So I'm very much optimistic that these things will lead to a better things.
Yeah.
So now there are some racial conflicts. That one black man, he was killed by a police. Okay,
Yes.
so these things happened in the past also, but as a result, the society has transformed.
Yes.
See, when Abraham Lincoln was the president of America, actually right from my childhood, Abraham Lincoln has been my inspiration. Okay,
Yeah.
so there was a civil war at the time, and America was about to be divided. But Abraham Lincoln led from the front.
Yeah.
He united America as one country,
Yeah.
and secondly, he abolished that is uh, this slavery too.
Yes.
Then he modernized the economy. He
Yeah.
strengthened the federal structure.
Yeah.
So those things, the challenges were there at that time also, but
Yeah.
and ultimately the society became better.
Yes.
Then again, Martin Luther King came. There was that is then blacks and whites.
Yeah.
There were issues, but again it led to equality. But still, there are some inner inequalities. They are coming up
Yeah.
sometimes. So
Yeah.
we need to contain them by respecting all people, not
Yes.
only black and white, not only developing and
Everybody.
developed people, across the people.
Everybody.
Okay, so the world is like one family.
Yes.
Uh, so in India, we always believe, the world is one family. We are all equal.
Yeah.
We all have one rule. So
Yeah.
Vasudhaiva Kutumbam, we call it.
Yeah.
Vasudhaiva Kutumbam means the world is one family.
Yes.
So that kind of attitude we need to build. We need to make people as global citizens.
Yes. Yes.
So when we make, then gradually we'll be able to build a better world.
Yes.
And the technology, when you talk about, it is both good and bad, how we take it.
Yeah.
See, the technology has brought so many challenges. Like now people are not connected physically, virtually they are connected, and COVID became a big threat. But technology helped us to connect,
Absolutely.
right? That's
Yes.
one. That's the plus point.
Yes.
Because of technology, people worked from home. They generated some income for
Yeah.
companies.
Yeah.
If the technology were not there, then people wouldn't have worked at home, or we wouldn't have come to know about coronavirus.
Yes.
So it is both good and bad. How
Yes.
we take it? So technology is a double-edged sword.
It
So
is.
we should harness technology. Don't treat technology as an enemy.
Yes.
Treat technology as an ally,
Yeah.
and harness technology for global good and social good. That's what my
Absolutely.
message.
No, I agree. I agree. Imagine if coronavirus had happened 15 years ago, before Zoom, before Skype, we would all be so isolated. So technology is our best friend. It's how we use it. It's how we use it. So Professor Rao, just to bring this to an end, if you were going to give 2 or 3 words of wisdom to a young future leader, from, say, from India, a young future leader who wants to be a true global leader, what 2 or 3 things would you advise that leader to do?
Thank you for asking this wonderful question. I always tell my students and my audiences only one sentence, that is, achieve success with integrity. Don't cut corners. If we try to cut the corners, if we try to achieve success by wrongful means, ultimately the truth will come out. So we should always emphasize achieving success with integrity. That's one slogan.
Yes.
Second thing, we should respect women. We should emphasize women empowerment, and we should advocate gender equality globally.
Yes.
If women also work hard along with men, we'll be able to build a better world.
Yes.
2. That means a bird cannot fly with one wing. A society cannot grow with only one gender. Society needs 2 genders to work together. A bird needs 2 wings to fly. The society needs both men and women coming together and collaborating together. When they come together and collaborate together, they will be able to will be able to build a better world.
Yes.
The third message is emphasize humility, humanity, and hope.
Yes.
These 3 are the messages. If you want one more message, I would like to give. This is my routine message.
Yes.
Love your mother, but don't hate another person's mother.
Yes.
That means love your country, but don't hate another person's country.
Yes.
Love your language, but don't hate another person's language.
Yes.
Love your religion, but don't hate another person's religion.
Yes.
Love your community, but don't hate another person's community, because your mother is important to you. Similarly, another person's mother is equally important to him
To
or
them.
her.
I agree.
So these are the messages I can share.
That's perfect. And I couldn't put it better. So how do people find out? How do people here in Ireland and in America and Australia and Africa and India find out about you? How do they find you?
It's very easy. If they Google my name as Professor M.S Rao.
Yes.
M means motivation, S means success.
Okay.
Rao Rao. If they Google, they will find my all blog, especially my blog Vision 2030 1 million global leaders, and
Okay.
they can find my YouTube channel. They can find my LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all the social media platforms, and
Yes.
they can acquire knowledge. So specifically, they should subscribe to my YouTube channel, and they should subscribe to my Vision 2030 1 million global leaders. So if they subscribe, they'll be getting some motivational quotes and articles on leadership and learning.
Thank you so much. I've been very inspired by talking to you, and I know you and I, we will have a parallel journey going forward. I know this, and thanks so much.
We were destined to meet, and we have met. I think maybe in the previous birth we had some connection. So
I
because
agree.
you are from Dublin and I am from India, so
I
but we are
know.
connected.
We are
So
connected.
universe has brought us together.
It
So let
has.
us thank the universe
Yeah.
for bringing.
Yeah.
I am grateful to you for giving me this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank
Thank you.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.